Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, everyone, whatsoever time and wherever you're joining from. I'm Olanrewaju Oyibo. I'm also trying to fix my video. Hopefully, should come up at one point or the other in the course of this meeting. I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining or whenever you get to listen to this. Today I will be talking around a very important topic, which is smart technologies in Nigeria. Before I point us to the direction of smart technology, let us look at the challenges that is facing developing nations. When we understand these challenges, we will realize the need for smart technologies better. And then I'm also going to explicitly define for us what a smart technology is. Over the years, if you look back at the prehistory in terms of industrial revolutions and how the whole world has changed, innovation has always driven the way of life for human. There was a time where all we wanted to do as human is to survive. And all man co-invented was fire, to make it, and weapons to fight battles so that man can actually survive and conquer others or defend themselves. And shortly after that, we start moving to the history stage of innovation, where man was now inventing something like wheel, where man was inventing, writing, like the 3000 BC, man invented writing, and they were formalizing knowledge. And on, man was inventing few other things like the optical lens. Man was inventing like the mill, where the wheel is now being converted to mill, where the wheel now can start running as a mechanized solution to generate energy and to do some other sort of activities. Throughout all these innovation stages, one thing that is evident is man was trying to rediscover how to do things smarter. Man that used to work before now have cat and horse now. And that was when that famous quote, don't put the cat before the horse, because man was trying to do things faster and smarter. And you then believe that when you're on the horse move faster, and when you're on this, a cat, it doesn't just move smarter, it moves even much more better because you are now more comfortable. It doesn't move just faster, it moves smarter because inside the cart you are more comfortable. When it rains, it doesn't touch you and you are still moving. But on just a horse, you move fast, yes, but when there is sun, when there is rain, you feel the impact. You feel the impact. And this literally is one of the earliest examples to explain how an existing technology or innovation is becoming smart. And smartness here is what are the additional benefits that something functional can also offer. And as the world continues to evolve, now moving into the industrial revolutions, where we start redefining smartness by the kind of things that we see around us. The first one was the invention of mechanization. And that is when man starts saying, no, what we do with our hands, let us replace them with machines. And replacing what you do with your hands with machines starts with mechanization. And that was the steam engine era. And in the steam engine era, man was able to power machines using steam power, steam engine. And that was when we started having the tractors. That was when we started having the commercial farming, because now we have these mechanized, devices that can go far and do a lot. Even while you are sleeping, someone can continue to use them without expending as much energy as and resources as will be required if you are putting together laborers who are working actively, on the farm. Shortly after the first industrial revolution, we have the second one, which is electricity. It was during the second industrial revolution, electricity was the invention, but the innovation is mass production. And I need to quickly separate these two things because as we move closer to the smart technologies in Nigeria, it's good for us to understand the trend and how one is defining smart and the other is just technology. Innovation is was what invention is what we take inventions to be, something that actually maybe might not exist before in its current form, but now exists and solving a pain point in the industry, and has the potential, rather, it's not solving, but has the potential to solve a pain point in the industry. But innovation is commercialized invention. It is never innovation until that invention has been packaged into products and services that solve problems and generate money. Electricity was the invention of the second industrial revolution, but the innovation there is mass production. That was exactly the time when Henry Ford said an average American should be able to afford a car. And how will you achieve that? Two ways. Number one, mass production. Let us start having production line, assembly line, and leveraging on the economic of scale. While it was costly to produce a car or manufacture a car, is because whenever someone wants to buy a car, they manufacture for that person everything at once. So you don't manufacture two cars at the same time, one per time, just as Rolls Royce is being manufactured. And obviously, every resources in that car manufacturing company have to come together to work for just one man to produce just one car. And definitely it's going to be costly. But Henry Ford understood the economic of scale, that by the time we mass produce these things, leveraging electricity to have assembly line, production line, we're then going to have cheaper, because the unit cost of manufacturing one can become cheaper. You produce car seats, 1,000 copies. You manufacture car seat, 1,000 copies. You manufacture headlamp, 1,000 copies. Every part of the car, 1,000 copies. And you do that in different lines. You know, the cost of now coupling them together, having a single car, is going to be relatively cheaper. Just as if you are making jollof rice for one person, or you are making it for 50 people, or you are making it for 10 people. The more people you are making it for, the cheaper it becomes to actually sell one, because the economic of scale steps in. And that is right there in the second industrial revolution where innovation takes place. And then he was able to make sure that an average American could still buy a car, because now he has reduced the cost. Moving quickly to the third industrial revolution, where we have the ICT, information communication technology, and this enabled quite a lot of things. It made it possible for man to transcend and break the limit of bricks and mortars, to break the limit of physical geographies, where we can communicate far beyond the restrictions of the physical geography. And we can see the stem out of that ICT revolution, which is what we're enjoying today, the Internet of a Thing, and several other benefits that information technology has provided, like the computer, like the programming, like the dot-com bubble, which has literally changed not just what we do, but the way we work. And I haven't explained this, I haven't shared with us briefly how the world has transpired from one form to the other, from the early prehistory in terms of innovation. This has not stopped. The fourth industrial revolution is that of artificial intelligence, is where we have all this robotics, is where we have all this IoT and smart technologies. And that is where I'm going to focus on now. In a nation where we suffered a lot, or where in an underdeveloped nation where there's insufficiency of resources, it is important that we have smart systems in place which adequately help to redistribute and manage the available resources. It is so sad that today it is developed nations that are thinking of smart technologies, or that are pushing in that are going smart with their technologies. It shouldn't be. In fact, it is the underdeveloped nations that actually need more of smart technologies, because that is the only way to address the lack of resources that they have. Let me explain or define what a smart technology is. Smart technology can actually be seen as a technology which uses, and I'm going to repeat that, which uses big data analysis, machine learning, artificial intelligence to provide cognitive awareness to the objects which were in the past considered as inanimate. What does this mean? It means smart technologies are common devices and technology that you have around you, but not just that, these technologies or devices actually leverages the fourth industrial revolution invention in terms of ICT and all these machine learning things. They leverage them to become smarter. And that means they work with data. And that means they make use of AI, they make use of machine learning, and to make things more better. They become something that cannot make cognitive decision before, can start making it. Oh, I'm going to cite some examples so that we can see how they are solving problem and how what a smart device is. For a quick example, just last week, I was at the office, and today I'm still moving to Microsoft Office at Ikoyi. That's the King's Tower building. The lightning, the building is built to be sustainable. It's a very smart building. When I enter, I have to just wave. When I wave my hand, the door will open. Especially when I'm opening doors. Some doors automatically open, but when I'm opening doors between offices to office, I just need to wave my hands. The door will open. In that kind of system, the door is smart, responsive, is now animate. What cannot move before, like a living thing, is now moving and responding. We're going to talk about the advantage of that. Every offices are naturally, every meeting room are naturally, the light there is dim or even totally off. The moment you step in, the light comes up. It's smart enough to know that someone has stepped in. I need to, brighten the light or even put it on totally. What was inanimate before start becoming animate. And what is the advantage from this kind of two examples that I've cited, because I'm going to share with us in many industries that you have smart technologies. A good advantage of that is conservation of energy. Nigeria as a country is energy poor. We are aware of that. We have life challenges. There are many cities, 10 years till now, they've never seen electricity. And we are in a nation where what we produce is not up to what we need to consume. What we distribute is not even what we transmit. It's not even up to half of what we need to consume. About 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I was in Egypt. And I see for myself, when I say light over there, they manufactured, the kind of capacity that they produce is almost double of what the city or the whole country needs to consume. The light they manufacture, they produce, is almost double of what they need to consume. So these people might not even bother themselves about being smart. And that really back to why we need smart technologies. Conservation and management of resources is one singular thing. Reason. And we will see how other advantages stem from there, because it makes life more easier. In a situation where we have shortage of light and power, smart technology is not just to put solar in a building. It is to make that solar energy responsive and animated in such a way that it can maximize or optimize the use of that energy. If I put solar in my house, when I'm not around, it should know. When I get in, it should know. And there should be advantage for whenever I'm not around, because I'm not using energy. Except I put on maybe my freezer. Those ones are already pre-configured. The fridge themselves, they should be smart enough. When it attains a certain temperature, it drops in terms of energy consumption. Let me drop to an energy that can just sustain this coldness and not really to just keep everything block and continue like that. What areas today are we seeing smart technology as I start to wrap up, wrap up my session? First, smart health. Remember what makes a smart technology? Is actually that device, that thing is becoming responsive, is becoming a bit intelligent. You can see some level of reasoning or decision making without you prompting it. Apple 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro in itself has smart health embedded. It is smart health because now it makes it easier for women to manage their menstrual cycle. It continually assesses your temperature alongside with the smartwatch. Assess your temperature and tell you if you're ever going to have delay or not, if you're going to have some abnormalities or not, if you're going to have some health challenges, can prompt you on time and even prompt your doctor if you put that notice there. It is smart because rather than before, you can see it's not just to measure the number of steps you are taking a day. This guy is going beyond that. He's measuring that. He's taking your pulse. He's taking your temperature. He's correlating those things together to determine some well-being statistics, which will prompt the decisions he's making on your behalf. Let's talk about smart buildings. For example, what I mentioned at Microsoft Office, the building is built to be sustainable. In fact, a smart building does beyond just controlling or regulating light. It measures sustainability. That office is built to be sustainable, green, eco-friendly, and it emits power. I don't mean energy, it emits data, statistics. The building can report on health and well-being of the building in itself. You can know what is defective at every point in time. You have reporting, a breathing, they are called a living building. They are living because every part of the building is emitting data that helps you to understand the state of the building at every point in time, beyond its operation and controls. So buildings like that, in an environment where there are lesser resources, they are very adequate. And that is why we need to continue to strive to make Nigeria a smart city. That is the only viable way to solve the deficiency and lack of resources that we have, not just in energy, but in every other resources around us. Smart farming and agriculture. We've seen the attack on the north, and it becomes increasingly difficult to go to the farm, save and sand, and come back home and do that consistently to be able to produce the kind of food that we want. The recent flood we're experiencing today is going to cause a lot of inflation in food prices. It has spoiled a lot of agricultural produce. Smart farming is exactly what Israel is doing. In a country with that little form of land, their land mass is as small as compared to well, just one state in Nigeria. It's not like it's that big. But Israel still feeds nation, they feed themselves and they export food that can feed many other nations. How is that small country able to do this kind of thing and many other cities? Smart farming. You see green farming, you see people having the green cube where they can produce repeatedly, agricultural produce with a life cycle closer and faster than what it would take on a normal day. And they are doing that sustainably with environment-friendly approaches. They control the environment, they control the temperature in that place, they control when there should be heat and light, when there should be, everything is being controlled. And we see drone technology supporting, the spread of fertilizer on the farmland, where you can't even go to farm. You can use drone farming. A popular Nigerian by name, Professor Ndubise Kekwe, invented Zenvos. Zenvos is a smart agriculture and farming material that once you put it there on your land, is a device that you just have to pin to the land, and drill it to the land, to the soil. If you have many of it, this Zenvos gathers data and transmits everything via satellite to the cloud. And you can see real time on your farm, what is the temperature? What is humidity? What is all those things that you need to know, the composition of the soil that you need to know to make smart farming decisions. And we will suggest to you, these are the kind of produce or crops that can do well in this kind of environment and this temperature. This is the time of the year to start thinking of planting this type of crops. And beyond that, it will also tell you if there's infection anywhere because it observes. It takes some snapshot of your farm produce, the leaves of those cassava, of those yams and everything, and aggregate them to determine there's defect so that you know, oh, this there's infection on the farm or not. These are smart farming and agriculture. I've talked about smart home. Let's move to smart grid and energy utilities, which I've cited the example about them. We still have a lot of cities, places in, for example, Kwara over there. I schooled in Kwara. I might not remember so much of place, but I still know some far part of Kwara, the Kosoboso, all those, the communities where I think I've been to one or two of them, while I schooled in Loring precisely. Same places where there's no water. I've been to one of those places where it took me, I couldn't bath for 2 days. There's no water. When I got to the river where we are taking water, it's not water. This is mud. There's a lack, and we will never be insufficient of all resources. Energy or resource utilities, for example, in terms of water. In many cities, we waste water. You go right there and just open the tap and start washing your hand. A way to say smart device in terms of water dispenser are devices that, once you just put your hand around them, they will drop a certain quantity of water. And this certain quantity of that, once it's done, you wash your hand with it. If you need more, you put your hand again, you drop another, so that you are not wasting resources. And that way you can see smartness in managing that kind of resource, like water. Transportation. We start seeing smart transportation. For example, what we have around us, the energy saving cars, the cars now that doesn't even use that use EV, electronic vehicles, by the way. Not just being electronic, self-driving, they are smart. Tesla is leading that industry as far as we know today. Not just the fact that they are not using petroleum or crude oil, they are using battery, meaning it can be recharged and the energy can be conserved and can take you for a far distance before you recharge. And some of these devices are actually autonomous. They drive themselves. And they can also avoid some of the mistakes that human makes, even in driving. By driving themselves and being conscious of because those cars transmit data about everything around them. In that case, they give you more time, free, for man to be productive and address another problem. I'm going to say for Nigeria as a nation to be prosperous, we must attain a smart and sustainable nation with our use of technologies. In manufacturing, we start seeing digital twins. Digital twins is a scenario where your entire manufacturing base has a digital base. What do I mean by that? Coca-Cola is doing that with Microsoft, where the entire manufacturing, everything they have in that place, they have it in the digital realm using HoloLens. So literally in your office, you can walk in there and you can see you are not in the office, but you can walk in and activate HoloLens, and HoloLens is an augmented reality, which augments the digital with the physical. It just augments them. And right in your office, you can activate that's your headquarters where manufacturing is taking place. You can see digitally. You can move as if you're there. You can see live, because those data are transmitted live, how every bottle of Coke is being moved from one line, assembly line to production line to packaging line and all those things. You can see each and every one real time. You can walk in there and check them. It is easy that way to fix any damaged device without naturally being there. Wherever you are, you can appear in hologram alongside with other physical team engineer that are on ground, in case you are the one that knows this, and point them, oh, you do this, because you can see right there what you need to do and instruct them how to do it. We've seen smartness with healthcare. Healthcare is also a challenge. The numbers of police, the numbers, I mean, that's talking to even security now, but in terms of healthcare, the numbers of doctors that we have compared to our populations, it's nothing to write home about. We've seen telemedicine. We've seen a smart room, a smart office. That when you enter there, AXA Nigeria is driving that through AXA OneNet. They have a cubicle that once you enter into that big cubicle, it scans you. It takes a lot of things about your vitals and the basic things you even need to do to know your temperature, everything about you. That medical checkups. You enter there, it takes those scans and it will show you the result. And it's faster. A doctor doesn't have to be there. That is helping us to manage resources. Speak about smart security. How many police who that say are protecting our lives? My neighbor has a light. The moment you get there to his door, the bulb will turn up. Even if it is daytime, if it's nighttime, the bulb will always, the moment the bulb can sense that someone is close to that place, it will turn up. It took me some time to realize that it's actually CCTV camera. That's the bulb. As small as that bulb is, as it's turning up at day at night, it's CCTV camera. Wherever you are, you can look at your smartphone and see what is happening. Who is at my doorstep? Who is this person? What's he trying to do? So, these are just few ways where smart technology are replacing just technology. And it is important that we understand, as a developing nation, the only way to manage lack of resources is to go smart. Thank you very much.
الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحان